Welcome in. That was solid. I am the crypto bull god, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Drop me a comment, as Kyle has. Click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. Guys, we're going to get into it. We're getting into it. Kyle dropped me a super chat here, so we're getting hot and heavy quick. I'm going to jump right into questions. We're going to start off the live stream differently. Thank you, Kyle, for the super chat. Definitely very much appreciated. You know, I don't announce all the positions that I do. I don't go on Twitter or I don't go on YouTube and announce every single position that I do. But I actually took a small position. It's a small position. I think 2 days ago. Today's Friday. I think on Wednesday. I took a position 2 days ago, a small position in my retirement account, my Bitcoin IRA account. What's up, Ugos? We're taking a look at Algorand first and then IoTeX afterwards. So Algorand's been one of these underperformers. We all know the news, but allow us to look at the charts and have that speak for us. We're going to turn all of these prior green areas that we've looked at before into areas of red resistance, unfortunately. Now, what's happening right now? We're looking at a weekly. The weekly hasn't printed. I'm going to be a little bit presumptuous and say we're going to close above this line. It looks like this green area of support that I had indicated before is about 9.5 cents. I'm just going to round that. 9.5 cents. Okay. You can see we won as wow. We were all the way down here at 8 cents. 8.4 cents, guys. 8.2 cents. What's up, Black Oil? Glad to see you in the live stream. Well, 82 cents. We could only hope. Or we could only wish that we were at 82 cents. All right, let's talk about, in all seriousness, let's talk about what we're seeing in price. So clearly, the first thing I would point out that I don't like to see about price is, now what we essentially did here, and I think we spoke about this before, this low that was created all the way back during the beer virus lows, okay, we double bottomed here. But since then, we've started to break below it, right? So at this point, we have actually formed a new low relative to the beer virus lows right here at 8.2 cents. One could argue this here was a double bottom relative to here, but we have since gone lower, okay? So we can't say we've double bottomed anymore. So I would say, of the altcoins that we have evaluated on this channel and which I have personally evaluated, for the most part, I would say I can't really think of too many charts I've independently evaluated without sharing them with you guys. This certainly is one of the weaker performers, okay? There's no question about it. Again, we need to... It doesn't matter what your outlook fundamentally is on the project. I'm just interpreting what I'm seeing in the charts. There's no falling wedge present. We've been in this down channel, right? So now what I want to look for from price is, are we beginning to stabilize and are we beginning to recapture some of those prior areas that were once support, which have now fallen into resistance? Have we recaptured some of that? Well, a good sign at the moment is that we've recaptured this area at 9.5 cents. So at the very least, I'd like to hold above there, okay? Other areas of resistance are clearly laid out. You can see them at 14.4 cents, 16, 17.6. I mean, it's going to take a strong amount of volume to come in here and start to push up towards this 14, 16, 17, and 20 cent area. You can also see the other thing we're going to encounter clearly. I think, Kyle, you pretty much are familiar at this point. You've joined the live stream enough. Thumbs up, everybody. Appreciate the support. We also have downward resistance here, right? Downward resistance. So depending upon when we come up, we really start to make a price movement up. There's going to be all of this resistance in here, not to mention the fact that based on these prior several candles that I've closed, which we haven't taken a look at, because we haven't looked at the chart in a while. Feels nice to go live, by the way, on a Friday. I haven't gone live in a while on a Friday. There is another area of resistance. I mean, if we really, that actually worked out perfect. Right around 10.4 cents. And this chart is starting to get a little too busy for my liking. Right around 11.8 cents. Okay, let me move that down a little bit. 11.65 cents, right? So Kyle, we got all this resistance we need to get above, right? You can see roughly 10.4 cents, 11 point, we'll call it 7 cents, downward area resistance, and then you got your 14, 16, and 17.6, right? So lots of resistance to encounter. Now, one of the things I like to look at on a chart like this, where you have this strong downward momentum in price, I like to go a little bit more granular. We're going to go to the 3-day, okay? And I want to see if there's any bullish divergence. There's a reason that I established a position on this project, right? You can see that the MACD is beginning to pick up, which is good to see. And you can also see that the RSI, despite the fact that we've been bleeding here, you see how we've been bleeding in price? RSI actually bottomed here, all the way back on this bottoming candle at 9.2 cents. And even though we went to 8.2 cents, you can see this RSI has remained higher, right? And that's probably why I established my position. I believe I was looking at this and couldn't believe where we were at in price at 9 cents. And I was like, I think we were at 8 cents. No, maybe we were at 9. And you can see the RSI has really begun to kick up here, right? So I do like what I'm seeing in the relative strength index. In layman's terms, what this is telling us is strength in terms, the strength on the sell side is beginning to diminish, okay? That is what this is telling us, right? So sell pressure is beginning to wane in this thing. What I would suspect is going to happen, and some of this is going to be contingent on the rest of the market. Not to say that Algorand couldn't make a move on its own, okay, just because it's been so suppressed in price. But I wouldn't be surprised, especially given my expectations for fourth quarter, although I don't want to jump the gun on my expectations for the fourth quarter this year. Price action for Bitcoin, we're going to get to it. Price action for Bitcoin this week hasn't been what I would have wanted to see. And we still have one more week of price action. A lot can happen in crypto in 1 week, so we could definitely have a huge turnaround in price. But the way price is lingering right now, I'm not really liking what I'm seeing, to be honest. And so we'll have to see how September closes. We have all of next week. Yeah, we have all of next week. I really want to see some bullish momentum come in here. I'd really love to see the month close up more towards 28,000. We'll have to see. But depending how we're closing out these next couple weeks, it wouldn't surprise me to at least get a pop, Kyle, at least get an initial pop somewhere up to this area, maybe around the 11.7 cent area, as high as maybe 13 cents. And then it'll be interesting once we start popping off towards like 11 and a half. Let's just keep it simple. 11 and a half to 13 cents. What does price want to do, right? Because what you ideally want to see on a chart like this, you want to see the ultimate break of downward resistance, because now strength is beginning to come into price. And depending how overextended we get to the upside, obviously we could see some sort of a significant healthy pullback, bounce off this area of support, and then continue up. That's ideally what you want to see in price. Okay, so that is Algorand. Let's get to the second question that you had here. IoTeX, project I'm not familiar with, and I don't think I've charted this one out before. Is everyone having a good day today? We're going to get the intro halfway through the live stream, I think. We just jumped right into things today. I hope everyone's having a nice day. Anybody have any interesting plans going on this weekend? I don't have anything super exciting going on. Staying in this evening, going out tomorrow. Probably staying in on Sunday and doing some football. Unfortunately, probably working a little bit on Sunday because we hired someone new and he has definitely not been living up to expectations. So I don't really talk about work much on here, but it's been a little rough. So I'm having to sort of pick up the ball and roll with something. I'm in the midst of managing a project that has a firm deadline and things are just not getting done. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to assume responsibility for updating the analysis and be done with it. But this is ticker symbol IoTeX. Kyle asked this question on a super chat. Much appreciated. So you can see now what is this the most price action we have? We'll look at it on Coinbase. It's all the same. Now you can see right now, I'm looking at this thing and it doesn't look as bad as Flare. I've been very candid about the fact that Flare has been an absolute dumpster fire. My Flare tokens continue to go up because I have them wrapped and delegated and staked. But that Flare balance is going up, but my USD balance is constantly going down. It's been a shit show. This isn't as bad as that, but it certainly is not looking promising. I will say that. What would be the first thing I would evaluate here? There's a couple different areas of descending resistance that you could draw here, but ultimately the way I would personally draw this, I would do that. I like that. And the reason I like this descending resistance, where is Kathleen? Thumbs up, everybody. I need the support to get the channel out to more viewers. If you appreciate the content, if you don't appreciate the content, feel free to continue watching and not hit the thumbs up. That's completely fine as well. So what you're going to notice, and the reason that I like drawing it in this fashion, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 touches, okay? 9 touches on this descending area of resistance. Now, can we draw a descending line that would draw, maybe a falling wedge? We could have at this point. You see how at one point, this was a falling wedge. We were wide here and we were starting to narrow. We lost that here, okay? We lost it. So this is not a falling wedge. If anything, do we even have a broadening wedge? Nah, I wouldn't draw that. So this thing is in a definite downturn. So the first thing I would establish is that there is this downward area of resistance. The next thing I want to establish are areas of support that I want to see hold. Now, obviously, this bottoming candle here, this is our current all-time low. This is at 1.3 cents. We need to see this hold, Kyle. All right, if I can't tell you where price is going to go if we lose 1.3 cents. And the reason is because when we look left, there's zero price data. It's a beautiful thing on a chart, like when you're looking at Caspa and we're all the way high in price and you look left up top and there's white space. It's a blue sky breakout. It could go wherever, right? It's bad on the downside because now when we look left, there's no areas of price confluence and we could fall to a tenth of a cent, right? Who knows? Or we could fall 1% lower. We don't want to lose that area. Ultimately, that's the only area I'm concerned with in this chart for support. Now, areas of resistance, I would look, and the way that I'm drawing these areas of resistance, because there's been such a downward slide in price, I'm looking at all the stair steps, right? This is how I'm formulating. Look at how this works. I want to convey something to you so that you're learning something. Do you see how we fell here and sort of landed here temporarily? Once we broke, we couldn't get above it. Temporarily here, but then couldn't get above it. And then we sort of, this is another stair step here. This was created here. Once we broke on this candlestick, we couldn't get above it, So I'm looking at the stair steps and creating my areas of price confluence. These are your areas of price confluence, Kyle. You got roughly 1.7 cents, 2.1 cents, and this is 2.9 cents, okay? So I'm not interested in charting this again until we start to make significant progress and get above these areas of what were once support and are now resistance. If we take a look at the price indicators, MACD is trying to curl up. Stochastic RSI, I actually like what I see in the stochastic RSI. It's driven by the fact of this candlestick right here, volume coming in. But stochastic RSI is increasing at a good clip. We're well above 20. This is a great example. You can see, and I've reiterated this on the live stream quite a few times, you can remain oversold and overbought for extended periods of time. I've seen it way too many times in charts, right? This RSI is all the way down here at 23, 24, and you can see it's lighting up red. Very oversold here. Well, what happened? We never got above this stair step, right? It acted as resistance, and we just rolled over lower. There's no reason just because we're oversold that you should take your money and go all in on something. We can remain oversold and just continue to go lower and bleed out. There's no reason when we're overbought and the price indicators are screaming that we're overbought, we can't be overbought for a couple more weeks, right? So lesson learned, if that hasn't happened to you in the past, you'll learn it at some point. But that's what I see on this chart, Kyle. This is a nasty one. I don't like this chart at all whatsoever. Yeah, I'm not sure what your position is if you're looking to take a scalp or something like that. But this is a nasty chart. I don't like this chart at all whatsoever. It's one of the uglier charts we've taken a look at. But thank you, for your questions. All right. I'll get to your comments in a moment. Did want to welcome everybody in. We jumped right into the charts here. Had a super chat from Kyle. Hope everyone is enjoying their Friday. And drop me a comment if you have any exciting plans going on this weekend, anything different, new, and thrilling going on. I think when this live stream stops, I'm actually going to kick back and relax a little bit, maybe Netflix and chill by myself. And yeah, just relax. I don't really watch a lot of TV, but I'm sort of in the mood to just kind of kick back and just relax for a little bit. But good week all in all. Nothing too exciting going on. Nothing bad, nothing good. Just sort of status quo. So hope everybody else is having a good one. What else did I want to say? Did drop the Bitcoin video this week. Important that you take a look at that. Dropped a Caspa video. And looking to get another TA video out. I'll probably get it out by tomorrow. I'm thinking Toncoin is what I was looking at, because Toncoin has made a major push up into the top 10. And so I was taking a look at where its market cap ranking was even several months ago, and it's made a significant move up from I think the 20s. It was in the 20s, and now it's within the top 10. So I'm definitely going to evaluate that chart and have a conversation regarding what I'm seeing in the chart. And that was also from input. Might have been U-Track, actually. I see you in the live stream. Welcome in, my friend. Welcome in. Might have been you that brought that up, because I was asking for ideas on altcoins to chart on my TA video. So that's what I'm going to be doing. All right, let's get to the comments here. What do we got? Rue, you appear to be new to the live stream. Welcome in. Have we charted BDP? I don't even know what it is. No, I've never taken a look at it. If we have time, we can take a look. Black Oil, can you check out Bob for me, please? Bob? What is that, SpongeBob? Sure, we could take a look at that, Greg. Ugos, I'm not a UFC fan. I never really got into it. But I know a lot of people that are like heavy into it. It's just not my thing. Rue, please research animal-based diet, aka carnivore diet. I have lots to learn. I have lots to learn from you. Well, I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, the carnivore diet. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, and I know Joe Rogan has sworn by the carnivore diet. I've been one who has stated that I kind of took a long time. I think you experiment with a lot of different diets when you're in your 20s and early 30s. But I finally got to this point up. But I've actually introduced a couple new things to my diet, if you will, which is, roughly, I'm not following it to a T. It can be off by a couple hours in either direction, but I'm trying to follow for the most part as much as I can. I just stopped the VPN. Apologies. Fucking NordVPN once again. Unbelievable. Yeah, I've been trying to follow for the most part in 8/16 fasting. So what I'll do is and it's not super strict, but what I will do is I'll stop eating around anywhere between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m., right? Now, if I go out to dinner, like if I go out to dinner tomorrow evening, I'm going to obviously eat past that time. But most of the days during the week, I will stop eating at 3 to 4 p.m. I wake up the next morning, let's just say on average, I get up at, 5 a.m., right? I have coffee. I do put coconut milk in the coffee, so technically that's calories. And then what I've been doing before I leave to go to the gym in the morning, if I leave around 6:30, 7 o'clock, whenever it is, I have a very, very small amount to eat. Very small amount to eat. And then until I get back here and I'm actually eating breakfast again, it might be like 10 a.m., right? So really let's just say I stop eating at 3 or 3:30, and then I don't really have a real meal until 10 a.m., that's a good 12, 18 and a half hours. But in between there, in the morning, I do have some coconut milk, technically. I have a little bit of protein, a little bit of fat before I leave to go to the gym, but that's about it. And then the other thing I've been doing is I've been measuring a little bit more of my food, just trying to be more self-aware of how many calories I'm intaking, which has been great. It actually worked out in my favor timing-wise because my brother and sister-in-law sent me a very addictive food item from Ocean City, New Jersey. It's Johnson's Caramel Popcorn. I used to binge on that stuff as a kid all the time. And what I learned through this process of weighing my food, which I used to do back in the day, it is a very small amount of popcorn that is a full serving size. It's like 180 calories, 18 grams of sugar. It's insanity how many calories are in a small amount of popcorn. So I've had a little bit of that popcorn when I come back post-workout. But yeah, those are the changes I've made to my diet. I don't think that I would, at this point, try a carnivore diet just because, one, dietary restriction I have that I'm very strict about. I started at the age of 23. I do not eat any red meat. So most of my protein sources are fish. I would say it's predominantly fish, all sorts of different varieties, followed by chicken and turkey, and then some seafood in there. Sometimes I have shrimp. Once in a while I have sea scallops, but I don't even do, I love shrimp and sea scallops. I don't do them often, but I eat a lot of fish, and I do chicken and turkey. So that's sort of how my diet looks from a protein basis. Let's see, got a lot of comments in here. Evan, welcome in. You're not going to lose everything. Listen to that blasted. Okay. Yeah, I don't follow him. I've told that story before, so I won't go into that. But I don't follow his content. Didn't like how it was doing. How do you decide when to abandon a coin? Well, I'm not familiar with that chart, DJ Neutronic, but I think you're asking a very good question. I'm glad you asked it, actually. So the question is, how do you decide when to abandon a coin? There have been certain coins that I have not explicitly shared on Twitter or YouTube, which I have spoken to on YouTube and Twitter, which I have gotten out of. And the reason that I personally have chosen to get out of those projects is because the chart, that Johnny Cash song, Know When to Hold 'Em and Know When to Fold 'Em? You have to realize that at times, it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself. At times, you're going to be wrong about an investment. And instead of being stubborn and just saying, I'm going to continue to hold it, and eventually it's got to go up, well, maybe you will get a pop in price eventually, but perhaps you've missed the opportunity to take that asset that's been invested. Let's say you have $10,000, and maybe had you put it in something else that, quite frankly, the chart looked a lot better, you could have made 30 or 40 or 50% in that. You could have made $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And instead, you kept it in there. It sunk another 30%, so now you're down to $7,000, and then it eventually popped 30%, so you're up to $9,100. So you're out like, $3,900, $5,900, right? So the point is, for me, when a chart is not going in the direction when it really starts to fall apart, when it really starts to fall apart for me, I'm out. I'm out. There are too many other assets out there. You can't be married to any project. You can't. It's one of the worst decisions you can ever make, because what are you doing when you marry a project, right? You're becoming emotionally tied to an investment. And that is the worst place to be. It's the worst place to be. So that's what I would say. You might slam some beers. Go for it. I'll be right there with you next weekend. I actually had a friend reach out to me and say, I know you gave up alcohol for the entire month of September, which I have successfully. He said, I know you're like super strict and you're probably not going to do this, but technically that means you're not going to be drinking until October 1st, which is on a Sunday. But would you come out with me on Saturday? And I was like, yeah, it's one day. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna be a dick about it. I mean, one day. So more than likely I'm going out next Saturday, having a drink for the first time in like 30 days. But it's been nice to take a break. It's been nice to take a break and not drink at all. And it's interesting because I thought it might have been a little bit more of a challenge for me, because I do enjoy having wine with dinner. There are Fridays like this, even if I'm by myself, I enjoy having an old fashioned or whatnot, but I haven't had an inkling to do that. And even I've been out in several social settings. Last time I was out at a bar. I met up with the same guy at a bar, and I drank unsweetened iced teas. That's my drink when I go out. So it hasn't been as challenging as I thought it would be. I've stuck with it, so it's been nice. DJ Neptronics playing with his newborn. Very, very nice. I wish I could send you an emoji. It's not letting me. You miss beer. Nice. Let's see. What else? Thank you, DJ. They say carbs keep your arms bigger. I don't know. I try to eat a pretty balanced diet. One could actually probably look at my diet and argue I should be intaking more carbohydrates. Kind of was thinking about that the other day, that maybe I should be intaking more carbohydrates. But at the end of the day, I feel great. I was commenting to a friend at the gym that since doing this 8-16 and trying to stop it, really for me, it's the two major changes for me. There really aren't that. It's not really that much different than what I was doing before. Three major changes. Three major changes are: one, I eat a lot lighter before I go work out. Two, I'm definitively ending eating earlier in the day before I go to bed. And the third thing is just weighing things out more and not pigging out as much when I come home from working out. And I feel like I have a ton of energy. I feel great. So, yeah, because of the glycogen, you might shrink. Oh, Evan, hang in there, man. Don't give up, my friend. Don't been here for too long. Evan, how long have you been invested in the market? Because again, I've seen all these ups and downs in the past 5.5 years, pushing almost 6 years. Cardano, kind of feel like abandoning Cardano. You got to make that decision for yourself. I can't tell you. All I can tell you is what the chart's saying. I can't tell you what to do, and I would never want to imply that. Well, like I said, I don't watch his TA. I lost respect for him based on how he chose to respond to me. So I'm not going to talk bad about anyone, but yeah, I don't pay attention to his content. Like 100,000 days. Yeah, man. I'm open to different lines of thinking here. But on the carnivore diet, I just don't eat red meat. had read a lot of things about cardiovascular disease and colon cancer, and cancer is a very scary word. Colon cancer, cardiovascular disease, and I was like, you know what, I don't need this stuff. And this is coming from a guy, I used to eat a ton of red meat. I used to be the person in college who would go to dinner and eat 2 double burgers, 2 double cheeseburgers. They weren't cheeseburgers, I think they were just hamburgers. Loved my mom's prime roast. Oh my God, my dad used to fight me over, my dad and I would fight over who would eat more, with the big thick potatoes and carrots that she used to make. Pork chops, Salisbury steak at school. I remember as a kid I used to love. Like, I used to eat a lot of red meat. All right, let's get into what we're seeing in the charts. Now, one of the things I wanted to evaluate since our conversation yesterday, I didn't really see what I was, or it wasn't that I didn't really see. I didn't see what I was looking for today. I wanted to see more of a bounce from everything. So right now, the way the S&P closed, technically we closed below 43.25. So there's 2 things I don't like about this weekly close on the S&P. First off, we're technically slightly below 43.25, although I would argue 43.20 and 25 are the same thing. So we're resting right on support. But what I don't like is how thick this red candlestick is. There's no bullish picture I can give you about that. So what I would default to is the fact that we still have higher highs and higher lows, and I've spoken to the areas of support. I think the next couple weeks are going to be really interesting, and I would default to what I shared yesterday, guys. There are way too many people. The talk of the town right now is that, okay, that crash we were talking about at the start of 2023, now it's going to start, right? Everybody's so sure the market's just going to dump. And again, when we do have, this is my view based on just my education and experience, right? Myself and no one else knows. I'm just being honest with you guys and sharing my thoughts with you. I say the same thing to my family. The market is going to correct at a time, in my opinion, when the fewest market participants are talking about it. There's going to be euphoria. And then what will happen, okay, in my opinion, what you will see, and it's the same thing in Bitcoin. When Bitcoin begins to top, if I'm correct in what I'm saying, as Bitcoin begins to top a lot sooner than most market participants are believing, this is in general what my expectation is, okay? Let's just say we're out here in, the middle of 2024, right? I'm picking an arbitrary point, okay? I'm not saying the S&P is going all the way up to 5,800. That's not what I'm saying. But picking this arbitrary point, right? Let's say we work our way up here, right? Everybody is fucking euphoric up here, right? And then we get a bounce, right? And everyone's like, and then we start to rise and everyone's like, yeah. But the problem is, as we bounce, this becomes a lower high, right? And then we bounce lower and we get a lower low. And everyone starts to get nervous, but then we get another bounce. Everyone's like, see, everything's okay. And then we really begin to roll over. That is really essentially how I see things playing out. The market is not going to correct, in my opinion, when most market participants are expecting it. Perhaps the timing of some of this stuff is a little off based on what I've indicated, fine. But the general thought process still applies. And the other thing I would bring to your attention is, again, next year is an election year, and there's no way the Democratic administration is going to allow the stock market to do terrible when they want their Democratic nominee to get reelected, whether that is Joe Biden or, as many believe, it's going to be another somebody else that's going to be running against him, because quite frankly, he might need to step down. And in all seriousness, he does not look like he is not doing well. Yeah, so all these indices, they closed very bearish this week. So it's going to be very interesting to see over the next handful of weeks here what sort of price action we get to, first off, to close out September. And notice how unemotional I am right now. I'm not getting animated and expressing to you any concern about what I'm seeing. Again, we're seeing these general higher lows coming in here. If the Dow fell all the way down here and started going below 32.5, right, and we took out this higher low, okay, that's something to be concerned about. All right, it would be. And then if we came down here, now I think my line in the sand would be if we start to take out on the Dow below 31,400, this is where I would get very concerned, because now you're invalidating two higher lows. And the next obvious point, if we take out 31,000, what is this? 31,420 is obviously revisiting the lows that we set all the way back in late 22. But again, we'd have to, for that to happen, keep in mind, we would have to correct from current price levels. We'd have to go down another 7.5% in the Dow, which for a major index like this is a lot. So again, my general view on things is we had a very sharp incline, a sharp rise in price, a historic rebound since the beginning of the year. We've been going up relentlessly since April, and we're getting a pullback right now. And once we're finished cooling off and correcting, in my opinion, we will be setting new all-time highs. Now, whether that still happens this year, as I have predominantly stated, or whether that happens early next year, I still view that as the scenario that's going to play out. Don't forget, speaking to the fundamentals for a moment and getting away from the charts, don't forget, history suggests, all we can do is use history, right? It's not it's my opinion, but it's founded on education, not just based on a whim's notice or a guess, right? Or how I emotionally feel. I've spoken in the past about how a lot of these banks are positioned with their assets and bonds, right? And the interaction with interest rates, and how essentially a lot of these banks, the way they're positioned, based on believing on the Federal Reserve's words in years past that we were going to be in a very low interest rate environment for a long period of time. A lot of these banks are fucked, okay? And with high interest rates, if interest rates really do stay at the level they're at, even though they're really not historically at high levels, if they really stay at this 5.5% rate, there's going to be a lot of banks that are going to fail. A lot of these regional banks that are going to fail. Of course, the larger banks would love that. They could swallow them up and acquire them for pennies on the dollar. But where I'm going with this is I don't believe for one moment that the government won't do what it has always done when they're faced with a crisis like that. They will feed the addict. Okay? The stock market, the injection, my view is that the injection of capital, literally we call it the printing of dollars, but the creation of credit in the system, it's like supplying heroin to an addict. And the stock market is the addict, right? And if they feel they need a fix, they feel they need that drug, Jerome Powell will have enough pressure put on him that there is no way that I believe that they're going to allow things to fail. They're going to print money. This is what they have historically done since, go back to 2008. You know, if you believe a lot of what Raoul Paul says, really a debt jubilee took place back in 2008. You should really study a lot of the principles that he lays out. Really smart guy who makes a lot of sense. So I don't see things having this catastrophic end of the year going into 2024. I think the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, we're just going to continue pushing up. We're going to create these new all-time highs. And then at some point in 2024, we will top, in my opinion. And that is when we will face a pretty harsh correction. And that's when you want to be super conservative, in my opinion, with how you're holding. And again, make no mistake, I can be as bullish as I want on crypto. But if this thesis plays out, I'm not going to be holding any crypto. If I think there's a massive correction coming, I'll come out on the live stream and I will share that with you guys. Hey, you know, and I'm not going to state specific amounts that I'm withdrawing from crypto. But what I will do is begin to indicate when I personally am beginning to scale out of my investments. And I will look to be conservative at that point, and position myself accordingly. in my opinion, the wrong thing to do is to just position yourself one way and stay that way if the tide is turning. The tide has not turned yet, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see how things play out. But so far, this looks like a giant V-shaped recovery to me. I mean, if we go to a monthly, that's the other thing. We're going to see how things close out on the monthly at the end of September. But you look at this. Now, it was more pronounced back here during the beer virus. This was a V-shaped recovery, right? See how we came down here and then continued to move up? How is this not the same thing? And now we're going to come down here, and then we're going to continue to move up. How is it not the same thing? I mean, it's a lot of pattern recognition there. I mean, the more I'm looking at this, I haven't looked at the Dow on this view on the monthly like this and looked at it from this angle. But I'd actually be curious to take a look at some Fibonacci retracements and extensions on this. But that's really interesting. Maybe I'll tweet something out about that. Bitcoin, not much to share on Bitcoin. I have a watch list up here. Not a lot to share there either. Not much has changed in the market, guys. Not much has changed in the market since yesterday. Really, the reason I wanted to come on here, and I had indicated yesterday that I'd come on the live stream, is I did want to see how these major indices had closed out today. So, didn't close in the favor of what I would have wanted to have seen. But again, we have 1 week next week. What we want to see for next week, and we'll follow it very closely. And the dollar, again, we're right in between that 105, 106, just as I suspected we could potentially get to. Nothing concerning there either. What we'll watch for next week, we'll keep a close eye on, is how do these major indices close for the month of September? That will be something important to keep in mind because remember, the stock market is open Monday through Friday, right? So if I'm here next Friday to live stream, which I more than likely will be, actually I'll think about that, more than likely will be, we can take a look at the monthly closes at that point. Now, Bitcoin and crypto will not have their monthly closes until Saturday the 30th. So I could debate whether or not to do a live stream on the 1st, on Sunday, Football Sunday, after the Eagles game. I don't know who the heck they're playing. Who do the Eagles play October 1st? Let's see. Do they have a 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock game? Sorry, guys. My Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles schedule. Can't miss a game, guys. Let's see. Sunday, October 4th. They have a 1 p.m. game against the Redskins. I still call them the Redskins because I don't know who the hell the Commanders are. I'm not being racist by saying the Redskins. We were okay saying the Redskins for how long, and now all of a sudden we can't say that anymore. It's the Commanders. Aye, aye, Captain. Let's see. What else we got here? Yeah, Cleveland Indians changed their name, too. Who the hell are the Cleveland Indians now? They're Cleveland. Are they the Guardians or some shit like that? What are the... Let me see. Some bullshit like this. You can't say anything anymore in this country. It's like, it's getting... I don't want to go on a tangent. Cleveland Indians change name. It's the Guardians, isn't it? Yeah, it's the... Jesus. The Cleveland Guardians. Whatever. All right. Sorry. Everybody gets offended by everything now. It's like we can't. Ugh. All right. What comments and questions do we have? Oh, track. There is a gap around the $20,000 area. Or if you're talking about futures, track, are you referring? I missed your comment earlier. Are you talking about Bitcoin or are you talking about futures trading? Because the CME Futures, all that crap. The thing is, sometimes those... I think Nick, over at Encash Official, he was pointing that out several months ago, or there was some other gap he was pointing out. My point was, and it ended up not filling, and my point was when he was concerned about that and tweeting about it, was that he had a valid concern. I'm not saying that his concern wasn't valid, but those gaps don't all fill. Like if you go back in the history of Bitcoin's chart, you will literally find, you can do this if you want. I don't have the chart in front of me, but I was kind of drawing out relative expectations for myself. you can go back on the chart, but I know for a fact that we have gaps somewhere in this area, in the 2,000 and 1,000 range on Bitcoin. So clearly those gaps never filled, right? So maybe there's a gap at 20,000. But again, I honestly don't pay attention to that. You can overcomplicate your life, in my opinion, in charting. You could look at 500 different charts, and then it's like, it just becomes too much, right? I try to keep things stupid simple. There's a few main charts that I evaluate. I look at areas of price confluence. I look at price indicators, moving averages. It keeps things very simple for me. And then there are some charts, like the Gaussian channel is a good example. I don't know what that was. Like the Gaussian channel on the weekly, for example, I evaluate it every now and then. You know, when now it's an area of interest, right? Now we're in the Gaussian channel, so it does pique my interest. But I don't evaluate the Gaussian channel all the time. But I try not to evaluate too many charts because I feel like it's just going to overcomplicate things. Again, yes, the gap might get filled. To DJ Neutronic's point, the lowest at the moment, and this will more than likely change based on how the price data is. If we get a deep correction on Bitcoin, but it doesn't happen until, let's just say, January of next year, right? I don't know that I'm still going to feel like 19 to 17,000. These are the areas I spoke to. 19 to 17,000 is really going to be a possibility. We'll have to evaluate it at that time, okay? At this present time, if you watch the one video that I published, it is correct to say that I view the worst case scenario to be Bitcoin capitulating, flash crashing, all the way down to this roughly 17,600 to 19,500 area. That's my worst case scenario. The other primary zone that I pointed out was between 21.5 and 23.5, right? And actually, it's funny because that range, there's a video, it's a little dated now, but there was a video that said the Bitcoin floor is at 22.5. The video is a little dated. It's based on a line that's actually moved up. But yeah, Bitcoin 22,500 floor. Yeah, now I would stick to what I've said because we have more price data. As price data matures, we evolve. Obviously, things evolve within the charts, right? Wow, we've been going for 47 minutes. Didn't realize that. What else we got? Trying to skim through here. Emotions are a money killer, Evan. Emotions are a money killer. Ask yourself why you're scared. If something is significantly changing for you and you feel like you need to reallocate your investments, then do it. You know, I just don't think that there's personally anything to be, I don't think that there's anything to be scared about if you are an investor. And let me put it to you this way. I'm not speaking to someone who's day trading this. If you're invested in this market and you're fine holding your assets until next year, I don't think you have anything to be worried about. But again, that's on you. If you're losing sleep at night, you shouldn't be losing sleep at night over your investments. That tells me that maybe you have too much invested. You're getting way too emotional with your investments, and perhaps you need to take a step back and really reevaluate why you feel that way. But you shouldn't feel that way. Colorado versus Oregon. Yeah, Colorado's been getting a lot of attention these days with Deion Sanders, right? Yes. Keeping money on, I will tell you what, DJ Neutronic, that is an extremely good point that you just made. And it's something that I increasingly have become very self-aware of and need to be better about. And I feel like I have been better about it more recently. But having fuel, having capital on the sidelines for unexpected dips, it's going to benefit you so much. This market is so volatile. There have been, even when I've had correct calls, okay, even when I've been correct and the general movement has worked in my favor and, you know, I've been pretty spot on, even during those moments of movements up or movements down, we've still gotten sharp inclines or sharp declines, higher and lower respectively, than what I believed we would have gotten. That has happened countless times to me. I wouldn't say countless times, but it's happened several times, okay, where, wow, didn't see the market coming down that much at that point in time. Wish I had some more capital on the sidelines. So having capital on the sidelines is definitely very advantageous. Evan, here's what I would suggest. They hate me. Don't use that word. Hey, you know what? Evan, two things. First off, the onus is not on you. If someone chooses to take their money and buy something, we're all adults, right? I always say we're all big boys and big girls. I don't offer financial advice on this channel. Personal financial decisions are left up to you. Dude, that's up to them. Like, you got to take that and you just got to like throw it to the side and be like, that's on you. I've tried to share information with you on why you should research the space. Give you an example. I've shared with my brother, hey, I am super uber excited about Caspa. I think this project has really strong potential. I'm not shitting you. I think this thing could possibly break into the top 10 by next year. Like, I'm uber excited about this project. I'm not telling you to get into it. You got to do your own research, but I'm sending you this voice message to let you know, do your research, because I'd be surprised if you didn't come up to a similar conclusion. If you don't, great. Don't put a dime into it. I just want to make you aware. Sharing is caring. So the onus is on people to make their own investment decisions. And the last thing I would say to you, Evan, is take a deep breath, take a step back this weekend. Spend a little bit of time meditating, honestly, and just ask yourself why you're getting so stressed out. Do something about it and fix it, because you can't operate that way in life. You can't. You got to figure out the source of it and then make some sort of a change so that you don't feel that way. Guys, I really don't have anything else. There's nothing really else going on in the markets, honestly. It's a pretty blah day. Alchemy's having a nice push. I tweeted this out earlier. If we get a nice weekly close, it'll be interesting to see. We could get a significant push in the fourth quarter going into maybe January with the rest of the market. Thank you, DT. Appreciate it. No need to apologize, Evan. We've all been there, man. We've all been there. DT's a veteran himself. Yeah, that's all I got, guys. So signing out. I should be, I don't think I'm going live this weekend. Haven't done that in a while, but we'll consider doing the monthly close on Sunday. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I know if you're in the United States, this is Friday for you. If you're in a different country, like my crypto brother from another mother, DT over there, I know you're located elsewhere. You still chose to tune in, which I appreciate. So I'll be back on Monday for a live stream. Should have another TA video out this weekend on Toncoin. Make sure if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. You do the same, Ruth. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, everybody, let's all spread awareness and let's carry the education forward. Take care. Have a good weekend. Get outside and enjoy the weather. Enjoy life. Get away from these computer screens. I've been staring at this shit all day. Get away and get outside and enjoy the weather. Enjoy time with family and friends. Take